To this day. To this day.
Rich people don't sleep 8 hours a day.
That's stupid. Use your common sense.
Tell me how.
The heart, Osborn. First, we attack his heart.
I don't feel so good.
This is Off the Top, the episode of Pop Culture. I'm your host, Bushido Spirit. Here we have Mo.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
All right, we got Josh.
What's good?
And we talking about the casting for Matt Reeves' Batman. All right, so I'm going to let you start, Mo, since you have the story to scoop. What is going on?
Okay, so as far as we know, right, Matt Reeves' Batman movie has been in production for a while. I mean, actually, in development is probably a bad time. And the idea is this man's been writing the script behind the scenes ever since, I think, around the time Justice League was. So, if you don't know Matt Reeves is the director and writer of the Lost to Planet of the Apes reboot movies. Both of them have been, like, pretty critically acclaimed. Everybody loves them. And, he's a big win for Warner Brothers as a production house. And recently we just got like the short list of actors that they were picking, you know, to potentially play that Batman, because Ben Affleck announced that he's not going to be part of this movie and not part of this franchise moving forward. So they had to cast somebody else.
All right, and who did they cast, Matt? I called you Matt. I mean Mo. Who did they cast?
I mean, the short list originally was Robert Pattinson.
Uh-huh.
There was Armie Hammer, which is an interesting pick because Armie Hammer was supposed to play Batman in a Justice League movie that never got made.
Do you know who Armie Hammer played before? Because that name sounds familiar. I know he was in
I'm looking him up.
Armie Hammer's been in a lot of stuff. He was in Call Me by Your Name, if that rings any bells.
Oh, that's the gay movie, right?
Yeah.
The Social Network.
He was in the Social Network too. He was in The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Yeah.
He was in that fucking that Slave Revolt movie. I forgot the name of that shit.
I have no idea. Man.
Birth of a Nation. Yeah, Birth of a Nation.
He was.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. So
and there were other picks too. They also had Aaron Taylor Johnson. He was also the guy that played Kick-Ass, you know. Aaron, and he played Quicksilver in the MCU as well. The last one.
I don't think he could be back. Well, I mean, I've been wrong before.
They got to get actors that have played gay before. I think that's the best way to cast for Batman. Like, if you played a gay character before, I think they should just cast you automatically.
Wait, what?
I don't understand the point.
What's your logic behind that? Wait, hold up.
I'm talking about Heath Ledger, man. Like, that was the best portrayal of Joker. And then, the new Joker, Joaquin Phoenix, didn't he play gay too? Wasn't he in Brokeback Mountain too? Oh, I'm thinking of somebody else.
Yeah, you're thinking of Jake Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal. Okay. Well, never mind.
Yeah, he's a Spider-Man. But yeah, the last person I was trying to mention about 3 times was Nicholas Hoult. Nicholas Hoult, if you are familiar with him, he was one of the main characters in Mad Max Fury Road, and he was also, I believe, Beast from the reboot X-Men movie, if you remember him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You talking about the new X-Men, right?
Yeah, like First Class, the Days of Future Past.
Yeah, I don't like that. Yeah. I don't like him.
Yeah, but out of that short list, as far as we know, Robert Pattinson was the one that they picked. And I kind of want to hear what you guys think about Robert Pattinson, because the first thing that you're going to think about is, that's the Twilight kid. They're casting Twilight kids. And, before you go ahead and say what you have to say, I think it's interesting to mention that obviously going in a completely different direction, since Ben Affleck was supposed to be the older, more mature Batman, even though he was doing a whole bunch of stupid non-Batman stuff. But this version is supposed to be a younger, more youthful Batman, and we don't even know if it's necessarily adherent to the same continuity. So
I mean, I kind of feel like he definitely has the look. I mean, he looks like a playboy, like he looks like, I guess, a Bruce Wayne. Now the only problem I have with him is that his acting has not been good in those Twilight movies and other movies. so I'm not entirely sure his range. Because I don't watch his films like that, so I don't know how good he is. The only thing I can go off of is the Twilight movies. I haven't seen any of his other stuff, so I would have to look at that to even come up with my opinion on it. But as far as the look go, I mean, I think he can probably pull it off with a good director that can coach him up in the acting department. But let's be honest here, we haven't really had a great Batman. Aside from the cartoon, like the live action movies haven't really had great Batman. Ben Affleck was okay, but like
I think Ben Affleck was pretty good. I know. I'm gonna keep my opinions. Like,
I mean, he.
Go ahead.
He didn't do enough though, for me, honestly.
Well, Robert, yeah, I agree with you. Like, he looks like he could pull it off, like with a good costume and everything. I think he passed the look. I already seen the first Twilight movie. That was like 11 years ago, so I don't really know that much about his acting. I don't know. Mo, have you seen anything he's been in recently? Or
well, that's why I've been holding back. Here's what I'm gonna say. I appreciate the way you're coming at it, Josh, as opposed to the way Bush coming at it. And the reason I say that is because you acknowledge that the Twilight movies came out how many years ago? Like over a decade ago, they started coming out, right? So it's like maybe we went on with our lives, but he went on with it too, and he kept acting. Meaning that's 11 years of film history that he's participated in, but we don't know about.
That came out 11 years ago. I feel
the first one came out 11 years.
God
that's
damn.
the one I saw.
He's 43 years old now. Just to put that out there.
Damn.
And just for frame of
reference,
it
was 22. Fuck.
Yeah.
What the fuck am I doing? God damn it!
All right, let me just put this out there right now. Robert Pattinson, just for context, after those Twilight movies, became like one of those indie actors, like one of those really like nuanced character actors.
Okay.
And I think in 2017 or 2018, a movie came out with Robert Pattinson called Good Time. And the idea is it's a movie about two brothers. One of them is kind of disabled, right? And the other brother isn't disabled. And the idea is that they get into troubles and crimes, and then every time that the disabled brother gets caught, they try and pin it on the not disabled brother as this guy that's trying to get him involved in other stuff, but they're both participating in it. It's this whole crazy movie, right? But let me just put it this way. Robert Pattinson is an amazing actor. He's a fantastic actor. Like, ever since he left Twilight, that man has done nothing but prove his soul as an actor. He's amazing. Like, he's one, like, and when I heard that Robert Pattinson got casted, I was like, this is gonna be even more of an amazing movie than I thought to begin with. Because, like, first of all, Matt Reeves is a fantastic director. Like, my biggest problem with Batman up until this point has been Batman has never been the wacky, silly character while being treated serious at the same time. It's always, we have to do gritty realism or we have to be Adam West. And I feel like Matt Reeves is the director that can meld the two to give us the perfect version of Batman on screen. That's what I feel like we're going to get.
All right. I see you, Mo, laying in the cut and to expose your opinion as the best one. I see what you did there.
Robert Pattinson's gonna be the best Batman we've had so far. Easily,
ooh, that's a hot take.
Well,
okay. I mean, it ain't really hot, I guess. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Like, me personally, I think Ben Affleck was the best Batman.
Yeah.
Not saying that he had the best movies, but like BVS, I thought he was the best thing about that movie. Justice League, I said Batman was the worst thing about that movie, but I also said it's not Ben Affleck's fault. It's the writer.
Yeah.
The director. I don't think it was his fault. But as far as like the look and like the aesthetic of it, I thought Ben Affleck's the best Batman we had so far.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why I have issues with people talking about how. I guess that's really why people have issues with people calling The Dark Knight a superhero film. Didn't you get mad when I said that shit?
Those movies, like okay, so I'm not gonna shit on those movies because I feel like that's what I need to do to make a point, but I'm not gonna do that.
No, go ahead, man. Go ahead. I was gonna do the same.
No, but I don't really want to talk about the Nolan movies. To be honest with you, I'm bored of them. Like, every time I mention any superhero movie, niggas have to mention The Dark Knight. I'm tired of it. I don't care about that movie anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the major issues with that movie, like, Heath Ledger saves that film for me. Because Batman is trash in all of the films. Right, and that's my biggest issues with those films. Like, Batman has never felt like a hero to me.
I think the first one.
Yeah, I think the first one
pretty
too.
good. I think it was pretty good in Batman Begins.
I think he was pretty good in Batman Begins, and maybe you'll agree with this, Josh. I think that first scene in The Dark Knight Rises with Bruce Wayne as he's like this sort of reclusive dude that isn't even participating in the parties and stuff, and then Catwoman dresses the maid shows up and messes with him. I thought that was pretty Batman too. I thought he was pretty good at that as well.
That's like the writing though. That ain't really. Did that really? Did
Well, I mean,
who did Christian Bale really capture? He didn't do a great Bruce Wayne. To me.
Let's talk about this for a second. This is why I'm excited for this, like to an immense degree, is because a lot of the compliments I've heard about the Dark Knight trilogy are kind of confusing to me. I've never really understood it. Like I know those movies are great and well written, and well filmed, and blah blah. I get that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to deny that. But the thing that's always confused me is people always use this as a major compliment. They're like, "Oh, this is a good movie first. This movie works without Batman," and I'm like, "Then it's not a good." Batman movie.
Yes.
Then it's not a good. That's not a compliment. That doesn't mean like. What do you mean? Like the first. If I'm signing up for a Batman movie, you're telling me it's a good movie without Batman. Then I'm not watching a Batman movie. I'm watching a crime movie with a nigga that wasn't still a ghost. That's what I'm watching. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's
so I was like, man, your take might not be so hot because our best live action Batman was fucking I keep forgetting people's name. What's dude's name again? Ben Affleck. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I mean, like the thing I feel like Ben Affleck gets is he has this healthy balance of being a solid Bruce Wayne, and even though his Batman does some super uncharacteristic stuff, he has a presence in the suit that I like. His voice is good. You know what I'm saying? And I feel I think the thing that's going to work out for Robert Pattinson is that there has been a Ben Affleck, and most people are going to be like, "Oh, it's going to work to his benefit because we got a shitty Zack Snyder version." No, because that costume actually looks good. You see what I'm saying? Like that costume actually kind of looks like the dude. And I think even the critiques of that costume, right, were like, "Oh, he looks too beefy. He looks like he's kind of fat in the suit." Blah blah blah. Robert Pattinson is a skinny, it's kind of skinny dude, you know what I mean? So it's like if he builds some muscle, his build is gonna be more Batman-like from the comics and stuff. And I mean, like I was equally as excited, if not more excited, when I heard Matt Reeves was directing this movie. Because the thing I've always wanted from a Batman movie is I want Batman to be stoic. I want him to be this grounded character or blah, 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 but whatever. You know what I mean? That people say, but I want his world to be crazy. I want that to be the vegetation lady, the guy made out of clay. I want there to be a crocodile man running around. I need that nigga that tells riddles instead of like actually doing shit. You know what I mean? That's what I like. I like that stuff. That's Batman too. And and the moment I realized the person that's going to bring that to film is the dude that put not even a talking chimpanzee. He put a chimpanzee on a horse, and I'm like, the guy that put a chimpanzee on a horse is going to be doing a Batman movie, and I'm like, that's exactly who you need. You need the chimpanzee on the horse, nigga.
I mean, you talk about how you didn't necessarily like the edgy interpretations of Batman. They like went too dark. When you bring up I guess the Nolan verse, like I
don't care. No, the things can be as dark as they need to be. They just don't need to be like this whole thing where like they have to ground it in reality. Batman's not a realistic.
Yeah, I mean it's a dude dressed up as a bat.
Like, Batman is not a real. Batman's not a realistic character. He's so far from realism, it's hilarious. Like he is a guy that realizes after the death of his parents that it makes more sense to learn all of the martial arts, be educated in every crime scene analysis like skill set that you need to have, and dress up as a bat and punch people instead of actually doing something on a systematic level. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's lunacy to me. But at the same time, it's interesting. It's fun. I mean,
but that's what people want. People want their characters to be grounded in reality. That like they get
people love the MCU.
I mean, they do. The majority of people do love the MCU.
And I said this, and I'm tired of hearing that. This is what people want. This is what people want. People don't know what the hell they want, man. People want the last thing that they liked and got. That's what they want.
Yeah, they'll get mad at you for saying that, Mo.
I don't care if they get mad at you. It's the truth. I don't care.
They don't like that, Mo.
You don't like the truth? Okay. I don't.
I gotta present the other side of the argument, man. I just feel like I gotta.
The argument is stupid. My side is the right one. That's right.
I'm just saying.
Apparently, my name is Morgan.
I'm just saying they like when these like these recent movies, you know, the Avengers and all of that shit, or even Spider-Man movies. People nitpick at those movies and say that they're too jokey. They don't like all the jokes.
Those are people that like BVS. Who are we talking about? Like, why do we want to interact with niggas like that?
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Like, this won't be like you might hear some rumblings of people upset when more news comes out about this film.
Well,
If it's not going to be like the grounded route.
Well, let's get on this real quick, right? Everybody was hyped for Jared Leto because he was a great actor, and what did we get out of that? We got some trash. And then what happened was that everybody was hating on Batfleck, and what did we get when Batfleck showed up? We got some. You see what I'm saying? So people don't know what they're talking about. They don't. They've hated almost every Batman or villain casted. Period. They just hated them. And I think another thing that you mentioned is
they hated Heath Ledger, by the way, before he was when he was casted.
Of course they did. And I mean, to a degree, in their defense, what did he really have that made people think he could play Joker? Not much. But at the same time, they were hating.
He had acting credit. He just got off he just played Brokeback Mountain. Didn't that film win an Oscar or some shit? I don't know.
Absolutely. No, I'm not denying he was a great actor. I'm saying there's nothing to indicate he could play a villain of that caliber. You know what I mean?
I mean, well, how many niggas get a chance to play a villain? Like, how many? There's like a small list of people that actually play villains in film.
I think the right question is how many Americans get to play villains? British niggas only get to play villains.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. I mean, but that's besides the point. I was gonna say, those people you're talking about, like, oh, it's too jokey, it's too this, it's too that. I don't think those are superhero fans, man. I don't think I need to, like, my entire point is my Batman movie wasn't enough like the Batman stuff that I know to be, right? It's me talking as a fan of the material and being like, oh yeah, this is what Batman is. Give me that instead of the thing we've been getting up until this point. Yeah. And people that say, hey, stop, we don't want any more of that, they're not coming from that standpoint. They don't like superheroes. They like the thing they got before. Meaning, why would I argue with somebody about this thing needs to be more superhero-like when they don't like superheroes? That doesn't make sense. It's like there's no point of having that discussion. You see what I'm saying? And
I feel like those people are those like older guys. Like I feel like when we grow, we want the shit that we love to grow with us, and forget that it was made for like teenagers to begin with. And I know Batman does get is dark. Like some of the stories are dark as hell, but still. Yeah. This is a thing that's like not really made for like adults. I guess I don't know.
I kind of disagree. I think Batman is made for anyone, depending on the type of stories you want to tell. You know what I mean? I feel like Batman can be the character you tell a story like The Killing Joke with, but he can also be any number of the episodes of Batman the Animated Series. Like when you watch an episode of Batman the Animated Series, you watch an episode of Justice League Unlimited. The best thing about those shows is that can kids watch them? Sure, but did they tell mature enough stories for an adult to still give a shit? Yes, also. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's what's so good about Batman. That's what's so good about most of the heroes that lost as long as they do. It's that the appeal isn't so specific as to only for kids or only for adults. It's for everybody, depending on how you want to tell the story.
I mean, that's one of the reasons why I didn't really, because it can get dark, but it I feel like it's I don't know. I don't know how I'm trying to put this. Like, I still have a problem with him not killing people. That's what I want to say. Well, like, if you're going to have this dark tone, then I feel like
Batman. That's a non-point. You don't like Batman, then that's fine.
I said that several times. I don't fuck with Batman.
Then why have this discussion several times? It doesn't. You don't like the character. Let's move on. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's nothing to gain from this. You don't like the character. You don't like the character. It's fine.
No, I don't think I have to move on, Mo. Fuck that nigga, man. Fuck Batman. Batman is not bullshit.
Why are you here?
I don't get why people don't think.
No, like, I mean, I like watching the films, but I don't.
It's very obvious why he don't kill nobody. That's all I'm gonna say.
Exactly.
The man already dresses. The man's a billionaire. The man dresses up as a bat at night and fights people. If this nigga was to go, he already batshit crazy. He was to kill somebody, man. Who knows what the fuck?
But here's the thing that's fire about Batman. Batman, is he batshit crazy? Yes, but is he also Is he also the world's best detective? Yes, also. Is he also peak human? Yes, also. Is he also a valued member of one of the biggest superhero teams in the world, or the biggest superhero team in the world? Yes, he's also that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I feel like that's what's interesting about Batman. Batman doesn't necessarily operate on the same sort of he doesn't operate like regular people, but at the same time, you get bits and pieces of a man that is broken, that is trying to fix himself in his own way. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing I wanted to point out. That's why I don't like the too edgy interpretations, because it really don't make sense. Like, because the character is goofy and it, like, the character is ridiculous. So if you go the hard and tough route, the ultra realistic
Right.
route, then it makes sense for him to kill people. But like I don't know.
Actually, to be honest, here's my thing, right? I don't
Yeah.
even necessarily mind people. Like, here's the thing: I want Batman's material to some degree be treated with some seriousness, but I feel like people take seriousness to mean grounded. I don't need the story to be grounded. I need it to be taken seriously. Meaning, I need this character to go through his arc the way he needs to go through. I need his parents to die. I need him to learn a lesson of, okay, so the thing that happened was this city is broken. No amount of money is going to protect you from this city being broken. A kid can lose his parents and have to pay the price for the rest of his life just because of a random incident, right? And then he spends the rest of his life making sure that doesn't happen to anybody else. You see what I'm saying? That is just a story about a person. You know what I mean? I think the stuff I'm talking about is his world is crazy. His world doesn't make sense. It's like some Alice in Wonderland type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like what they have in it. Like it's lunacy. You know what I'm saying? So what ends up happening is that story stays grounded up until that point. But then what happens is that, and I think that's one of the most interesting stories about Batman. Have you guys ever read the Long Halloween? You ever heard of that? Batman Long Halloween?
No, I didn't.
The idea of that story is that Gotham reshaped itself the moment Batman showed up. So before Batman showed up, Gotham was really only led by crime families. It was led by the what's it called, the Falcons and the Maronis. Is that their name? The Maronis.
Maronis.
And so it's literally just a crime families like any other what's it called metropolitan area owned the place. It was a mafia place. And what happened was, with the introduction of Batman, Gotham restructured itself where villains evolved. And then there was this point where the crime families had to decide, are they going to evolve with the introduction of Batman and become these sort of crazy, wacky, like superpowered villains, or are they just going to die and fade away because they don't stand a chance? You know what I mean? And I think that's what we need with it. We need to know that random crime can kill Batman's parents, but then eventually there's some even crazier stuff that can happen as soon as Batman is introduced.
Wait, so who is this who is really his mentor? Who taught, like, I know is it like Alfred or Ra's al Ghul? I know it's Ra's al Ghul taught him how to fight, but like who gave him his moral compass? I want to know.
I mean, well, that's a difficult question. He kind of lives on his own moral compass that he's kind of had like
he like traveled the world and like learned from many different people. Like,
and I mean to a degree, like, Alfred has given him a lot as well, because Alfred, they never say, but Alfred is his father. You know what I mean? That's the man that raised him. You know what I mean? Like, that's the closest thing he's ever gonna have to a father.
Yeah, like I hope they flesh him out more too, then, because I think that'll settle any issues that I have with the character. That person comes to the forefront and really teaches him lessons and whatnot. That'll make it make sense for me personally. But
Batman doesn't just have one mentor. He's had a ton. The whole idea is he's been using his money and resources to gain any martial arts and like forensic, what's it called, sort of training he can. And he's kind of come back as the ultimate detective. And
but a lot of that's quick, and it's like it's like off screen type shit. I mean, they show it in the comics, but they don't show it in the movies. It's like the shit they briefly brush over montages and shit.
I could live without seeing that, to be honest with you. I just kind of want to see him take on a villain. That's where I'm at right now. I just like, if they want to throw in Clayface in there, or they want to do Clayface would be cool.
My question is, does this movie take place? It doesn't take place in DCU, right?
No,
we don't know.
We don't know.
I heard it doesn't.
I think they're gonna do it. I think they're gonna do it this way. They're gonna see how it goes, and if it's successful, then they're gonna say that it was a part of the universe. So
yeah. Also, I heard they kick around the idea of Penguin being the villain of this movie. So yeah.
I was just wondering, will it be with the DCU or will it be with the Joker movie?
It's definitely not going to be with the Joker movie. The Joker movie is like a one-off thing that's going to end. Just one movie.
It makes me curious how they're gonna do this film. Like, just looking at that film, I think that film will tell us which direction they're going. Like, because I don't really believe the standalone thing like they said. I don't know if that. I don't believe that shit at all. I believe this shit pop, they're gonna try to connect that shit. Like they try to do that with the Nolan shit. They try to get Nolan to come back. So yeah. So I mean, I think not
really. They had Snyder was gonna make his movie regardless, and then they had Nolan as a executive producer credit just so people would have confidence in the product. Yeah, that's what they did.
I felt like they wanted that nigga to come back, or at least be a part of this new process.
He was never gonna come back. The same reason Joaquin Phoenix is never gonna come back after this Joker movie. They're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, you want to do the sequel? I already played Joker. It's over now." It's just gonna happen.
Are you sure?
Yes, he's an art actor. He's the same thing as Robert Pattinson. I'm surprised he's even doing this movie. To be honest with you.
I mean, I don't know. Superheroes pop now, and superheroes are become like they're good films now. So, I don't think I don't.
They've been good films for a while, Bush. Like I don't know where you've been, my G.
I mean, how far are we talking then? Like we going back 10 years? What are you talking about? They've been good all along.
I'm gonna say they've probably been good movies before that, but I'm saying from the moment Iron Man 1 dropped, 2008 moving forward, there have been good superhero movies.
I'm not talking about that. That's what I'm talking about when I say now. I mean, consistently, they are dropping good superhero films, not just some one-off thing like on some Blade shit or something like that, and then they drop boo boo afterwards. I mean, like consistently good. They actually taking the time to make these films.
To be fair, like 2008 is like 10 years ago, Bush. It's like 11 years ago, actually.
Well, that's what I mean when I say now. Like, I'm not talking about, you know what the fuck I mean. Like, I'm talking about way before that when we got the shitty films. When we got like fucking Super Mario Bros. And shit. I know that's not a superhero film, but I'm just saying it's based off something.
Bush, Black Panther whack, man. Blade and Blade 2, they were the original black superhero, man. Come on.
But yeah, I mean, hopefully this shit pop. I just want to see it. Like I said, I don't really fuck with the character, but I do like watching the films. I don't honestly. Do I fuck with anybody?
I haven't even heard.
I like Wonder Woman, I guess. Yeah.
Are you looking forward to this Batman movie based on what you heard? Like, because you have seen the Planet of the Apes movie.
I gotta see a trailer.
Okay, but you would give it a chance if it looked good.
Yeah.
Okay then.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree with that.
I ain't been too happy with the DC shit. So
nobody has. Shazam was good though. Shazam was really good.
I haven't seen that or Aquaman.
Bush seen Shazam. How was Shazam, Bush?
I mean, I like Shazam. Like it was a break from all the shit that they were trying to do. They didn't go ultra serious and realistic with the shit. They kept it. It felt like a comic book movie. Like it felt like superhero.
I just feel about something. I didn't even ask you guys, who do you want as the villain for this movie? Considering they could do some crazy stuff like Clayface or Poison Ivy or any of these like super powered villains we haven't seen yet.
I don't want Poison Ivy. I don't want. I would rather.
Mr. Freeze would be fire if they wanted to do that.
I mean, Mr. Freeze would be fire. But I would like to see Clayface because I like. Didn't Clayface used to be an actor or some shit like that? I forgot his story. Yeah, that would be an interesting story. Like I want to see that done on screen actually. Because I've seen the Penguin and all the other people.
Clayface is like the perfect villain to pick if you want to be like, this isn't gritty or real. This is Clayface. Like, you know what I mean? It's like this is the definitive way of being like, this is Batman. You know what I mean? Like, this is this man that looks like this the entire movie.
I mean, they can. I mean, sure, the stuff about him becoming the Clayface would be goofy as hell, but they can act. But his actual storyline is something that they can really flesh out.
But that's not the point I'm trying to make. I don't even think Goofy is something to pay in mind. I just mean he's gonna be like, to be honest, it's just gonna be another body horror thing. Like it's the thing that John Carpenter was doing back in the day with the Thing. You know what I mean? It's just like a old school like CGI in place of old school special effects for them like horror movies used to have. And that's what Batman is. But Batman's kind of this gothic horror-esque character with a whole bunch of weirdo villains that were tortured and messed up in their own way. But at the same time, they're kind of sympathetic. You kind of feel bad for them on some level. Yeah.
All right. Any final words on this?
I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm excited. But besides, that's all I gotta say. They casted well. Hopefully, the people they cast around him are good too. So
you really watched these Robert Pattinson indie films?
Yeah, he's fantastic. He's amazing.
Yeah, I lost track of that nigga after Twilight.
Watch Good Time. Good Time is one of the best movies to come out in the last 2-3 years. Go watch that movie.
Actually, yeah, I saw them review that film on Spill Double Toasted, and I wanted to see. I actually got that film on my computer. I never watched this shit. I had it for like.
We can watch the
years.
trailer right now and just attach that to the video because that makes sense.